Now here's what I use this for. The stick can be used for first of all, seeing what parts of what objects line up with other objects. So what I'm going to do, and some people get this immediately, some people this takes a couple of times to where they understand what I'm talking about. So don't think that you're losing it if you don't understand what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to do on those real objects is I'm going to lay this stick right up against the edge of this glass. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to see where does that stick cross when I come up to the top of the skull. And I want to see, is the apex of that skull in the right spot? And you have to have, when you're doing this part of it, you have to have your arm straight out, because I could do this, or I could do this, and it changes. Well, that actually has to do more with scale, but it's always a good habit to keep your arms straight, and I'll talk about scale in a second. So I think I got it just about right. Now the next part is I want to see where does the top of this, work with the side of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm setting this, I'm creating essentially like a line in space, and I'm setting this on top of this guy here. And yeah, I got that right. So I'm pretty happy with that. But what I'm basically trying to do in a really, really basic way, without any details to erase, is set up all of the different relationships these two objects have with each other and make sure that they're right. Because if you start rendering right here and eventually travel over to here and travel over to here, this and this may be completely off in terms of where they're located and also in terms of how big they are to each other. So the next thing I want to do, really still on a basic level, is I want to measure how high this is. And this is the part where some people get a little lost until they really get into it. My arm is always straight because I can measure that blue dot right there with my arm straight, and it's about that big. But if I bring my arm in closer, the blue dot becomes about that big. So I want, if your arm is never, the length of your arm never changes. So that will always be the same. So I'm going to measure the length of this. And now I have this measurement. Now I want to find, is there anything else in there that I can compare this to? From my point of view, this and this are the same. The height of that is almost the same as the width, so I can double check. Now I come to this, and you can use your fingers, or you can use this. Now that little tiny mark I made when looking at that translates to this distance, and now I can test this distance with this, and that maybe tells me that this is possibly a little too large. So then I changed it. I didn't draw it. I don't have a background. I don't have any texture to erase. I'm keeping it really, really basic. So now what I want to know is, where is the eye socket located? Because now I have a relationship with the outside of the page. Generally, what I would say is something like that in my composition. And now what I want to do is measure the space, compare the space here with the space here. The space here is a little smaller than the space here, so I want to just double check. Your brain constantly wants to organize things in very neat rows, and it wants to make things a little rounder than they usually are. It tends to really, really want to organize. So your brain's going to want to put this right in the middle, and you're going to want to check, is that really in the middle, or is my brain telling me to do that? So again, I've got my basic composition laid out. I think the proportions are generally right, this compared to this. And now I can finally say, now I'm ready to do like the really good stuff, the fun stuff, the details. And now by that I mean like this skull, has some more interesting aspects to it. You can really, the general shape is there and its location, but not the detail. So now, I want to kind of set this part up. The skull is not really perfectly that shape. It's got a little bit of different things going on. from my perspective, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on through here, but I can start laying that things out, and then slowly but surely, the drawing starts to kind of like come out of the paper.